I got to go with the same theme. I think, it's whatever drives you, whatever you get up in the morning and you're excited about, you're passionate about, go do that. And just know that, whatever it is, if you have a goal in that passion, there's no limit there, and you can go for anything that you want in that area. If you're passionate about it, that'll carry you, and, it'll drive your work ethic, and it'll be, an incredible journey that you enjoy.
Pass the torch, man. Keeps getting better.
Well, Charlotte, thank you for joining the podcast today. We had an electric time out in Boston here at your camp, which we'll get into. But I want to start with your journey from the very beginning. So you obviously grew up in Dallas, Texas. Not a ton of lacrosse there, but when did you first start playing the game, and how did you fall in love with it?
I first started in 7th grade. I actually was a big basketball player all throughout, my youth, and I actually had a dream of, playing in college and playing in the WNBA, and I was obsessed with it. And then I got to middle school, and all my friends played 3 sports year round, and I actually played field hockey and basketball, but I didn't play a spring sport. And in 7th grade, a couple of my friends, I was over at one of my friends' houses, and she was showing me her stick, and she was like, I mean, you don't have anything to do in the spring. Like, why don't you try lacrosse? And I was really bad at first, but I loved, how athletic you needed to be and how fast it was, how creative it was. And it wasn't that big where I was from at the time. Now it's, it's grown exponentially, but it wasn't huge. So then once I got to high school, I had a great high school coach, Maggie Cook, who actually coached at Syracuse. She played at Georgetown. She was an All-American. And then she moved down to Dallas, took over my high school program, and actually helped start a club team with Molly Ford, my other club coach, known as Grit Lacrosse. And when I was in high school, they were like, you should come out and try the club team. I think you could be good if you really, worked hard at it. And I was just obsessed with the sport from the beginning. When I touched the stick, I never really put it down, and I was just like walking around the house with it and going to the wall late at night, things like that. I just really wanted to get better. I wanted to watch every college game I could. I wanted to study YouTube highlights, things like that. But I still played basketball. I still played field hockey and loved, all sports all the time. But I just became obsessed, and I was really driven to improve. Yeah,
that's such a key, being obsessed with a sport in order to be as successful as you were. But I bet some of those other sports that you played helped with your development as a lacrosse player, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think basketball specifically. I mean, I played it all the time, and I think just similar skills, similar footwork, similar athleticism. I think there's also similar concepts. Like on a smaller sided. Field, there's 3v3 concepts that you can take. There's actually, a lot that coaches study from that game and implement in lacrosse. And I think it certainly helped me when I, adjusted and transitioned into lacrosse, just kind of being a well-rounded athlete.
Yeah. Were you a late bloomer at all, sort of getting into it so late, kind of the recruiting process, right? What was that like? 'Cause I read somewhere that you were a last spot kid and a few schools passed on you, right? So did that put a chip on your shoulder moving forward for your career?
Definitely. I think when I dove into lacrosse, they were like, I mean, you're a little late to the game. You're, people on the East Coast and other hotbeds, they've been playing for so long, from the moment they walked, they held a stick, and they were playing competitive lacrosse from an early age. And they just were very familiar with the scene. And when I would go to tournaments, I mean, I joined the club team going into my sophomore year of high school. I went to a few tournaments, and I just was kind of blown away by the talent and the different hotbeds and the teams that were coming from there, and the recruiting in general, and how stressful it was. But it was so cool to me, and I was very competitive inside of myself, to be driven to want to be able to prove that I could hang with those kids on the same field. And I would work so hard and then get super excited to go to a tournament and try to really prove that I can work twice as hard as them, or whatever it may be, to kind of catch up. And then, I had just so many great coaches who were pushing me. Like I said, Molly and Maggie were just, 2 of the biggest role models and mentors for me. And they helped me understand, self-confidence and belief. And they helped me understand, recruiting is different for everyone, and, not to compare myself to anyone else's timeline or story. And they just helped me so much, just get seen in front of coaches. And I was definitely later to the game, so it was a little harder. But I was so lucky that I did get recruited from, with their help and from those tournaments.
Yeah, you mentioned kind of the mental part of the game. Like that part of recruiting can be really stressful for high school kids going through that process, talking to all these different schools, like comparing themselves to other recruits. So like having that foundation with coaches like you did is huge, and like having that support system around you.
100%. I mean, I definitely wouldn't have gone, anywhere in the sport without them, especially those two who just pushed me from the beginning. They allowed me to, just understand the importance of hard work, the value of like a true work ethic, and the value of, being a good teammate, how far that carries you, being a leader on the field and in your team. And I think that those were lessons I learned from them from an early time, where they carried me throughout college. And I think they also helped me understand, like, maybe I wasn't feeling so great in comparison to the competition I was playing against, but if I kind of faked it till I made it, then I would, really feel like I belonged. And then at the same time, I would fall back on, my hard work, and know that, if I put in the time when, maybe others weren't, then it would carry me to, a place I wanted to be.
Right. And so you went off to Duke for your first 2 years of school, which I'm sure you really enjoyed. And then you transferred to BC, which I think was the right decision ultimately. BC didn't even recruit you, right, when you came out of school?
Right. Yeah. I was, fortunate that the Duke coaches saw me at a tournament that summer, went on a visit, loved it right away. And I was so fortunate to be picked up by them.
Yeah. And so I've played Collegiate lacrosse, so I'm a lacrosse player. I know the game well. And when I first saw you, it was a tournament game a few years ago at BC. And I was just like, I watched you play on TV. I was like, holy crap. And it was just like, when did your game elevate to that next level? And when did you like kick into gear?
I think I had so many influential coaches, from the time I talked about in high school, and then, going on into college, my Duke coaches. And then, once I got to BC, Acacia Walker, Kayla Trainer at the time, Sam Apuzzo, Jen Kent. I also was coached by Billy Bitter and Callahan Kent, and just these coaches that had just really taught me so much about the game, so much about myself, so much about, being a leader, being a captain, things like that, just helped me, keep going and keep pushing and get to a next level that I wanted to be at. And also my teammates. I mean, I was playing with, the best lacrosse players in the entire world, and every day they would push me in practice. We'd go at each other. We were extremely competitive. We would just bully each other all day, and then we'd walk off the field as best friends. And I think that's what it's all about. We just, we pushed each other every day and felt like we got better every time we left practice, which was just awesome. And I'm just so lucky that I got to play with them.
Yeah, and you have a ton of individual accolades that I could go on and on about, right? You have the most goals in college lacrosse history, 100 goals in a season, 2-time All-American, 2-time Tewaaraton winner. So what moment, and it might not be one of those awards, but what moment in your college career are you most proud about?
Definitely winning the national championship in 2021. That was really special. It was a very special team, and it was challenging. It was the year after COVID. We came back. There was a ton of obstacles, a ton of sacrifices we had to make. Couldn't see family or friends, couldn't do much. We really had to just buy into sacrificing and following the rules, and leaning into adversity that we faced along the way. And it definitely brought us closer. And, once we got to the season, I mean, we learned, we took it day by day, game by game. We lost in the beginning, we lost in the ACC tournament. And, right. Every step of the way, just our coaches helped us learn and grow. And our practices, our competitive vibe and energy every day was just off the charts. And, once we came to May and went on the run, it was really special to see just like the hard work of every single person, and the hard work of the alums in that program, right, who had been to national championship after national championship, the hard work of Acacia Walker and the coaching staff who had just given everything to the program to build a culture that is like all about winning and loving each other and doing anything you can for each other. And I mean, it shows in your success like they've had. And I was just lucky to be a part of that team.
Yeah, it's incredible. I watched some of the documentary. I forget what the title of that was on YouTube. That was incredible to see kind of the behind the scenes of your team and whatnot. But like you could see that camaraderie and all the coaches coming together. But there's no better feeling, right, than winning a national championship.
Oh yeah, I'll never forget it. It was probably one of the most special moments of my life, and I think it's something we'll always hold forever. It's not really the trophy or, whatever it might be from that year. It's really just that memory of that team and how close we were and how much fun we had together, and, just the love and the fire we had and desire to win for each other and for everyone in the stands and for the people who came before us in the program and for for all of that. It was just a really special moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so diving into the pro game a little bit, right? So I think it's the Athletes United Lacrosse League. And so for those that don't know, can you talk us through those dynamics a little bit, like how it all works? I think it's like an individual points-based league and there's new teams every week.
Yeah, it's super exciting. So Athletes Unlimited started 2 years ago, and the lacrosse portion. So they have various sports that they have professional leagues for on the women's side. But it's super exciting. I mean, it's a new game from the college level. It's just, it's the highest level of lacrosse you can get to. And it's super competitive, super physical, super exciting, fast paced. I mean, it's even faster than college, if you could imagine that. And it's really fun to see, all the players that I looked up to. And it's super exciting. And I'm just so grateful that I get a chance to meet them, play with them, watch them play, continue to watch them dominate after watching them dominate in college and idolizing them growing up. And then, also the people I've played against in college around me, I've just, admired them from afar and all the work that they've done. And I've gotten a chance to know them, off the field and play with them at Athletes Unlimited. But it's an individual point system, and each week the teams shift around. So the top 4 on the leaderboard become the captains the next week, and they draft teams, and then those teams compete against each other, 3 games in a weekend. And then, the leaderboard shifts around, but it's, a point system. You get, additional points for certain plays, and then
right.
Minus points for turnovers and things like that. So it's exciting. I mean, it's really fun, and it's just a great atmosphere. I'm really lucky to be a part of it.
Yeah, I've seen some of the clips, and I've seen the electricity around the sport. It does look really cool. And so you mentioned some of your idols in the game, right? So people like Taylor Cummings. We had her on our lacrosse podcast called Rise Up that we host with some PLL guys that do it. And she talked a lot about giving back to the next generation. She mentioned your name a lot. And so what is someone like Taylor Cummings, what has she taught you that you've implemented into your own game?
Oh, she's taught me so much. I mean, I was so fortunate to, get to look up to her and watch her play and dominate in college, and then to watch her dominate on Team USA, and then again in Athletes Unlimited. And then I was very, very lucky to have an opportunity to be her teammate this summer on the U.S. team during the World Cup and win a gold medal with her, and just to see her, in a huddle and be a leader, and just to see the influence she has on this game and on that program, and, on just the whole world of lacrosse. It's so, I don't think there'll ever be another Taylor Cummings. There'll never be someone who's had such an impact on this sport. Her and Kayla Trainer, too, who I got to be with at the World Cup and learn from, but also too that I've idolized, for as long as I've known the sport. I just, we thank them so much for everything that they've done. They've paved the way for any of us female athletes coming through to be able to do what we do, and to, the reason the national championship was on ESPN was because of right. them, and because of players like them that are pushing the sport forward, and, fighting for, the gender equality in the sport, and getting the same opportunities that the men get and things like that. So we're so lucky that we have them in this sport, and I hope they continue to stay involved. I know they're retiring, but it's so well deserved. They have had just an incredible career, both of them, and I mean they'll never be 2 of them ever again. They're just the greatest of all time for sure.
Yeah, it's great to see them kind of pass the torch to the next generation, right? And so I think, to your credit and to give you flowers, I think you're doing the same, and you're a trailblazer for the sport. And so for you, what is it for you to want to put on a camp like this today with 250 kids out there? They're running around, crazy energy, smiles everywhere, looking up to their idol. And we talked to some of the parents, and the only reason they sent them here is so they could talk to you, meet you, and learn a little bit about their idol. So for you in your shoes, why do you put on a camp like this?
Oh, I love it. I mean, I'm so fortunate that I got to work, here with pro camps and at Dexter Southfield with these kids. They were just amazing. I love getting to connect with the next generation of players. I remember being that age. I remember idolizing every player that I would watch in college. And I just think it's so awesome to see, all over that lacrosse is growing, and there are more eyes on the sport. There's more people involved. There are more people playing the sport at a younger age. And I think it's awesome. And it's a credit to all of those people like Taylor and Kayla who have really just help it grow. And I think, I'm just lucky to be able to have a place to connect with the next generation and just get to know their stories and why they love lacrosse, and then, get to run around with them and play a little and, help them in any way that I can.
Yeah, we'll probably see a lot more kids doing the BTB now.
I hope so.
What was one kind of lesson you want these kids leaving the field with today, if there's one thing?
I think it's, the importance of like why you play. I think, it's easy to get caught up in, kind of maybe the grind or the stress or the everyday routine of whatever you're doing. But I think, when it's something that you're passionate about, that's really all that matters. And when you find that thing that makes you, happy and makes you kind of, fired up to do something, I think, that's what you got to run with. And I think for me, that's, why I love this sport so much. It's connected me to so many people, so many places I've been so fortunate enough to go and build relationships with people. I think that I want to, help them do the same and realize the importance of, if you love it, just to be super passionate and go for it and not stop at anything and realize what the game can give you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so as a trailblazer again for the sport, where do you see the sport in like 10 years? Where do you want to see it?
Great question. I think, professional lacrosse on both ends is just growing fast, and I hope it continues to grow. And I hope that, eventually, women's lacrosse, there'll be a full-time job where you're a professional women's lacrosse player. I think, we're so lucky that Athletes Unlimited exists and they're doing what they're doing. They're going to continue to grow and it's going to be awesome. And I'm so fortunate to be a part of that. And, again, with the college game, it's just, as you see, Final Four after Final Four is filling the stands and it's on television and there's more eyes on the game. And, hopefully that just continues on that upward trend. And there just is more, there's more people with sticks in their hands every year. So that's the...
Yeah, it's incredible to see. Keep doing what you're doing because I think you're doing good things. And so you mentioned the sport putting you in places that it wouldn't before and giving you this platform. So I have to ask, what was the ESPYs like?
Oh, that was incredible. I mean, it was like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I was just kind of starstruck the whole time. It was really special. I was really lucky to be there. I think the coolest part was just seeing all my idols in the sports world, especially the female sports, Megan Rapinoe, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Candace Parker, Brandi Chastain. There was just like countless that I was literally Billie Jean King was there.
Right.
Like the list goes on, and I just was standing there like, am I really in the same room as you guys? But it was really, really fun, and it was a great opportunity. I'm also a huge Steph Curry fan, and he was the host.
I was gonna ask, is there one person that like you met that maybe stuck out the most?
Yeah, I think it was really, really cool to see Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I think I met Odell Beckham
There you
Jr.
go.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was everyone. I think, definitely the female athletes. That's what was the most moving part. And there was a Title IX celebration, 50th anniversary on stage, and, got to be backstage with a few of those female athletes and just, talk to them. It was really special.
Yeah. So one more question before diving into some rapid fire to wrap up here. But how important for you is it to like build your own brand, to build a larger platform than you already have in order to give back to that next generation?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I would love to, be involved in any level of this sport that I can be, and especially the younger generation. I really do want to connect and give back to them. I mean, this sport has given me more than I could put into words and more, that I could ever imagine. And I'm just so lucky. And I want to be, around all these kids who have the same passion as I do, for the sport and for connecting with new people and meeting new people, making new friends, new teammates, learning things from each other. And, I would love to do that as much as I can.
Yeah. All right. So some rapid fire here. So one word, one phrase, take as long as you want, but we'll dive right in. Who's your favorite athlete growing up as a kid?
Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Gotta say Steph Curry.
Favorite athlete? Well, this might be the same answer. Favorite athlete to watch in current day sports? There's a lot.
Like, I would say Sue Bird or Steph Curry.
Gotcha.
But Sue Bird's, she's awesome. So fun to watch.
Favorite pregame meal?
Ooh. What time of the day is the game?
Night game. Under the lights.
Night game? All right. Probably a nice, grilled chicken, veggies,
There you go.
pasta,
There
something
you go.
like that.
The carbs.
Yeah.
Pregame song, Out of the Tunnel.
Ooh. With our team shipping up to Boston, it's a classic. It's a ritual. We got to do it before every game.
Yes.
We do our lineups to that song. It's awesome.
As a Bostonian, I'd love to hear that. What's your biggest fear?
Ooh. My biggest fear is time.
Time. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. Last rapid fire before one final question to wrap it all up. But what is one word that best describes you?
Passionate. I think whatever I'm passionate about in life, I kind of, give everything I have to it. So I think that sums it up.
Yeah. So one final question to really pass the torch to the next generation. We talked about a ton of themes today, a lot of lessons. But if you have that one lesson that you've learned throughout your journey that you could pass along to the next generation to help them accomplish their dreams, what would that one lesson be?
I got to go with the same theme. I think, it's whatever drives you, whatever you get up in the morning and you're excited about, you're passionate about, go do that. And just know that, whatever it is, if you have a goal in that passion, there's no limit there, and you can go for anything that you want in that area. If you're passionate about it, that'll carry you, and it'll drive your work ethic, and it'll be an incredible journey that you enjoy.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Well, keep being a trailblazer for the sport. I'm going to continue to follow along, and it's going to be really fun. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoyed the content. There's plenty more Pass the Torch episodes, along with other podcasts we got going on and video series we do. So subscribe, and we'll see you later.